Hey guys, in this video, I'll review an issue that you may or may not be having now, or probably at some point in time you'll actually come across this issue. But I just thought it would have been a great video. This video will show how I fixed a problem while trying to use Microsoft List. I'm sorry, while trying to use Power Automate um, to do something very specific in Microsoft List. So just a little background. I created a database in Microsoft List, and basically what I wanted to do is anytime someone entered information in the database, I pretty much wanted an output, some document to be sent to that person. Okay, so you get it. They make some change to the database here. So this is my database here. You see on the screen. It's labeled demonstration just for the sole purpose of demonstrating in this video. So um, you see it. You notice that this list it just has two items, but the actual list that I was working on has multiple items. Anyway, this list has two items: the ID, which is generated automatically, and this title, which is just simply something that the user can input any information. But just for the purpose of this video, the information that was entered in by the quote unquote user is this title is for ID number one. Okay, and like I say, um, um, so pretty much what I want to do is once the user enters in, the information, a document will be created. Okay, so I go in Microsoft List, and then I go to integrate Power Automate, and then create a float. And that float that I created is actually on this screen here. Okay, um, and I'll just show you briefly what I did. I'm assuming that you know how to use Power Automate to generate what you need for it to generate. First of all, this when a new item is created, I select the SharePoint location that the database is in. And then I say I want you to get the when a new item is created, I want you now to get that item. Okay. The third step here is pretty much now I created an HTML document, and I'll show you real quick. So I created an HTML document, content. See in that folder. Sorry, I thought it opened. My apologies. So in that folder here now, I created a simple HTML page that I'm going to use as a control. And in that page, you see here that it's the ID and the title. It should be title, not price. So please excuse me. So now going back to the Power Automate form now. Now I'm on this part where I'm actually composing the message. And you see here that after I tested the flow, you see here there is an issue. And you'll notice that it says unable to process the template language, expression, and action. Long story short, because it's expecting a string and the item is a type integer. Okay, and that's the whole sole purpose of this video is just to show you what happens when the input is not a string and it's expecting it to be a string. So what do you do? Okay, so let me show you. So let me show you just to show you that it actually works. Let me go and revise this. I'll go and revise this to. Okay, so the expression that we want and the compose. And once again, I'm assuming that you understand up to this point on how to generate a file, okay? If for some reason you would like to further understanding on how to actually take the information that the user has created in a database and actually create a document and email to yourself, please leave me a comment and I'll go ahead and make that video for you, okay? So this is the part now where we had the issue. Let me show you what happens when there is no issue. Okay, so I go and create an expression that I go and use the replace expression, And so when you use the replace expression, it's expecting three things. It first wants to know, okay, what's the source that you want me to look in? And the source is in this file content. Um, if you recall, I actually created the HTML file, and I dumped it into a folder, and that file basically I use it is going to now look for the HTML coding. Okay, so I say the file content that I saved is going to be this one here. Okay, so after after I selected the file content here, I'm gonna enter comma, two quotes, and another comma. Okay, inside these two quotes here, I'm going to type the label title. Okay, so why title? Because if I go back to that document that I dumped in to use as a control, so in the HTML document, I specifically inputted or label it parentheses title close parentheses. So now it's going to look for this parentheses title parentheses, and now I'm going to define. I'm going to define what I want this to be replaced to on the document. Okay, so I want it to be replaced with the title that the user enters. Okay, and that's going to be our variable, the title. Scroll to it. Let's scroll to the title. Okay, now you might notice that there's a title for the get item, and there's another title for when the user creates a new item. We want the one for when the user creates a new item. Okay, so we look for title, select title. Okay, so what do we just do? We use the replace expression. The replace expression is looking for three things. First thing is it wants to know the file or the coding or whatever to defining the information. The second thing it looks for is the old string that you want replaced, and that's shown here. Okay. Once you define it, now you put a comma and you want to say, okay, now replace it with the new string, and the new string is that title. Okay, so if we go here now and here we hit save and we hit test, give it a second to save, you'll see that there should be no issues. Just want to show you, see it's processing, no issues. So it's no issue now only because the title is an actual string. Okay. Now let's look at a situation where where the new string is where the new string that you defined. So where the new string that we define here is not a string. Okay. What do? Okay, so let's look at that situation now. So we remove the whole thing and we define it again. And it just happens in this case, the string that is not a string but is actually an integer is the ID, okay? So just keep that in mind. So we're going to go to replace. Okay, we're going to use the replace function. And we're going to say, okay, look in the file content. Okay, we're going to put a comma, and then another comma. And within the two quotations, we're going to open bracket ID. Okay, so that's the string that this is the old string that we want replaced. And then now we're gonna define like what do we want in place of the old string, and it just so happens we want the actual ID. Okay, so remember there's two sections, get item. That's not the section we want. The section we want is in when a new item is created. So we're now going to look for that ID, this ID here, and we're going to hit OK. I'm going to save it, and then we're going to test it. And we are expected to have an issue, okay? Only because I know that somehow uh, it always sees the ID as an integer, and you see here, unable to process template language expression and action compose. The template language replace expects its third parameter, the new string. It expects this to be a string, but in actual fact, the provided value is of type integer. Okay, so now this leads us to the meat of our video. What do we do now to correct this issue? Okay, I'm glad you asked. So what we're going to do is we are going to define, we're going to compose something just above this compose here. We're going to add a new action, and it's going to be a compose action. And in this compose action, what we're going to do is we're going to look for a function here. We're going to look for a function here. It's very simple. So it says convert the parameter to a string. We're going to look for that function here, and you see inside the brackets is, it's asking for, okay, what do you want what parameter do you want to convert to a string? Okay, and we know that the parameter we want to convert to a string is actually the ID. Okay, so we're going to look for not the ID in the get item section, but the ID in the when a new item is created section. Okay. Okay. So notice we did that for the compose to section. Okay. So now we go back to this section here, and we're gonna delete that and just write the expression again. So it's gonna be replace. Look for dynamic value inside the brackets. Now what we're gonna do is we want to replace the file content. Okay, file content, comma, 2 quotation points, and then another comma. Within the 2 quotations, we're gonna do parentheses ID, parentheses ID. Okay, so that's the old string, and then right after the comma, we now want the new string. So the new string now, okay, pay attention. The new string is not the ID in the get new item that we previously defined. The new string is the what was created here in compose 2. So it was the compose 2 outputs, which is actually this one here. So if we hit OK, we hit create file, because we have to now define file content. Make sure that we select the correct output. The correct output is still going to be compose, so that's correct. So it's not compose to output, because remember, compose to outputs is where we change the parameter of ID from the integer to the string. Okay, so we want this one here, and nothing else changes for these two. But if we now hit save and we test the flow, we'll actually see that there would be no issue. See, and there's no issue. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so what we did was we changed our parameter for the value that we were having an issue with, or the value that we wanted defined in our document. We changed the value from an integer to a string. Okay, and that's how we change a parameter to a string, and that's how we fix our issue. I hope this video helps, guys. Please leave me any comment, any suggestions on improvement. If this video is difficult to explain, I have no issues with remaking another one. But please feel free to leave me any comments, suggestions. Thanks, guys.